everyone. I'm Susan Farmer. Welcome into episode 22 of Questions for Reflection, where we really dive deep and try to help us understand your birth chart. Do you ever say, I want to understand my birth chart? I need to understand my birth chart. If I do, things would go easier. That's what we try to do in here. My business is called Astrology and Soul, and I just want you to embrace all of you. Here's what we're going to cover in this episode. We are covering Mars retrograde. Mars turns retrograde on December 6th. Mars controls that fiery world, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to dive into that world of Mars retrograde and explore what it means for you, both in your birth chart and in the moment. So we're going to talk about how Mars shows up in your life, whether it's the Aries Mars with its bold, spontaneous energy, or the Scorpio Mars with its deep emotional intensity. We're also going to talk about why there's two. We're going to talk about the angst and tension that Mars can stir up during its retrograde and why you might be feeling restless, reactive, or ready to blow. The reflection prompts are going to help you work with this energy instead of against it. And we're going to give you some of those as well as the question for reflection. We're also going to do a couple fun quizzes to figure out how Mars is showing up for you and making sure you can identify which part of it to tap into. And of course, I'm going to throw in some herbal tea recommendations and energies to help you balance this powerful time and energy. So let's get started and let's make sense of all this Mars retrograde energy. If you can and want to, I would really love it if you would follow this page. My goal is to really help understand your birth chart. So I have found in my life, gosh, through doing astrology and really tapping into all the energies and knowing what's going on, if you work with them and can understand how it's playing for you, life goes smoother. It just really does. And you lean in. You can lean in. Yeah. Okay, here is the question for reflection for this episode. What has been building tension? What has been building tension, or have you seen tension building? I have. So I totally have. Like, I just feel so this started for me on Monday, the 2nd of December. I'm kind of a life's great. I'm gonna flow through my life. Just I can't say I've always been like that. That's how I have been for probably the past year and a half-ish, just because I've been working with all these energies and kind of know, you know, what's coming up, what's there, how I can petition it, stuff like that. So on Monday, I found myself anxious, irritable. I kept saying to my boys, like, I'm just irritable. Sorry, I'm so snappy. I'm moody. I'm broody. Um, I just felt this emotional angst of like, oh, I got to get some of this out. So for me, that started the 2nd of December last Monday. Now, did it start for you before that? Has it started for you after that? Or has it even started at all? This will continue building till December 6th, which is the day this airs. And it will continue building a little bit after that. Let's just give it like a week before and a week after. And then it's going to fizzle because Mars is going to get used to being retrograde. So try to look back over the past week and recognize the feeling, and also through the next few days, so that in the future it is understanding your birth chart. It is understanding that Mars energy, and then you can name it when it occurs and you have some allies to go to for you. So here is what has been going on. I'm going to pull up this chart Gonna show you. All right. Hopefully, hopefully the chart pulled up, and I got to put on my handy dandy glasses because I couldn't get my contacts in. That's part of like the angstiness for me. I just got contacts and it's like, so I'm old woman glass girl now. If I can't get them in. So here we are. This is today. This is when I'm filming, December 5th, and Mars is at 6.09 of Leo. See, it's got Leo right here. If we continue forward to tomorrow, December 6th, you'll see the station. Now, what S means in this program is that it's stationing, it's stopping. It is about to go the opposite direction, which is retrograde and direct. So December 6th, it turns retrograde. I'll go over the other dates in just a minute so you can kind of go back and try to track it. So let's keep going. December 7th, December 8th. By December 8th, it is retrograde. See, December 8th, 2024, we have the R and in red next to Mars. So it takes a few days, and that's why you feel the intensity. It literally, when planets are stopping to turn retrograde or direct, there is this vibration of intenseness. So we are feeling Mars energy, boom, 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 all over the place. And it's a very recognizable energy. It's like feeling, I feel like I've gone to war. I am exhausted for no reason. My cat had a baby and all her milk dried up. So now I'm trying to feed it and save its life, which would be like war, right? I can't get my contacts in. I can't, all these things. Think about, I mean, these are just not that big of issues in a person's life. So what has that? What has been tense in your life? Have you felt more tense? That's what we're looking at with this. So I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to give you the rest of the dates just to help you a bit. So Mars entered Cancer on September 4th. So you would have felt in this retrograde, we're going to feel a two different Marses, honestly. And that's why we are going over the Scorpio Mars and the Aries Mars, because this retrograde is in Leo, which is fire like Aries, Scorpio, which is water, Cancer, which is water like Scorpio. Okay. So you may have felt more of the water because Cancer and Scorpio are both water when Mars was in Cancer. And then during the Leo part, I mean, I don't know, track it, see if that works for you. I have no idea. It's an experiment, right? So September 4th, 2024 is when it entered Mars, or Cancer, sorry. It's when it entered Cancer, and this will be the sign that Mars is going to spend a lot of its time in, along with Leo, since it's retrograde back in 2022 in January. So the retrograde was from October 30th to January 12th of 2023. So it's about 2 years ago, right? See if you can go back and see if there was any angstiness or if something that you felt like you were fighting. If you know where Gemini lies in your chart, go to that house. See if there was something you were fighting or trying to resolve or wanted to go for. And now 2 years later you are. It's a good way to look back. When we look back and reflect, we can align with the energies. So that's the last time Mars went retrograde. Now we had it enter September 4th. And then Mars entered Leo on November 3rd. So see if you can put those different Marses together for you. Mars will re-enter Cancer. These are not the retrograde dates, okay? Just let me make this clear. On January 7th, it will go back as it's retrograding back into Cancer. And then it will re-enter Leo again on April 17th, 2025. I'm so sorry. The degrees for you astrology enthusiasts are 17.01 Cancer to 6.10 Leo. So we're going back and forth into two different signs. Here are the retrograde dates. Don't confuse them with the sign changes. Mars went into the area, step number 1, where it was going to retrograde on October 4th, 2024. That's the date you want to go back to and see, okay, when has some of this been happening? It's in what I call the setup zone, right? It's kind of setting you up, letting you know it's that beginning of a book that's giving you like, oh, these are kind of some of the things that are going to come up for you. I definitely see stuff in my life. Then on December 6th, which is the day this will come out, it goes retrograde. It will go direct again in February and then leave in May. So we'll care about those later. But what you want to be watching for is you really want to be going back to that. The two different Marses are probably important to see for you. So, and then October 4th to December 6th, and then December 6th, it's going retrograde until February 23rd. So that's when you'll start integrating stuff, but you want to compare. You really want to watch your life and see. And now's a really good time to do that because we're being reminded with some Mercury retrograde things right now. You got to just understand astrology is so layered, layer, right? So Mercury retrograde is absolutely playing a role in this right now, and Mars is turning retrograde. So like I said, we're getting the and this is the time where a lot of this stuff will kind of be hyped up for you to see. So sit down, reflect, take some time. We're going to explore Aries and Scorpio Mars energy and why. Why are we doing this? Well, the reason there's two is because Mars in Hellenistic and way far back astrology, before they had the outer planets, Mars ruled two signs, meaning it feels really at home there. And those signs have some of the archetypes that work good with Mars's natural characteristics. So Mars has its own characteristics. And then Aries has archetypes. And then Scorpio has archetypes. And Mars feels really at home in those two signs. So when we look at those, we can kind of understand which Mars are we feeling. We have, we all have way more than two different, characteristics or personalities is the word I'm looking for. And so does all the planets, because they can be in all 12 signs and it will bring up those archetypes for them. But if you really want to look at the pure energy of most of the planets, there's two. Now, we do have the modern or traditional ruler of Pluto that also has an affinity with Scorpio. I wouldn't throw that out. I would absolutely keep that in mind right now because Mars is like a missile, whereas Pluto is like a bomb, an atomic bomb that detonates deeply and reverberates things. So they're going to work together as well. So Aries Mars, what is that? Mars and Aries Mars is bold. It's action-oriented and impulsive. And Aries Mars is all about doing things now, becoming you through them, like, I'm going to be my own person. This is who I am. And it thrives on spontaneity, competition, physical activity, like getting moving. Like, let's get moving. It's fiery and direct. If you've ever met an Aries with Mars in the sign, they are very direct at what they say. So they think quick, they make quick decisions, they have bursts of motivation, and it kind of dies down, right? That's why you feel tired. You like think when you have those bursts of energy and you're like, I'm gonna get this done, da, 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 that's Mars, but then you pay for that later or feel it later, and you need to rest. There's outbursts. They can have outbursts of anger. So, to work with an Aries Mars, you want to channel its drive into physical outlets like exercise or sports. You can even like tackle a new project and you'll like put that energy into the project, but make sure it's movement involved. So, even if it's like organizing a shelf or something, you want to be moving your body with that one. Scorpio Mars is intense, emotional, and deeply, deeply focused. A Scorpio Mars operates below the surface, and this energy deals with uncovering truths, processing hidden feelings, and sometimes brooding in silence. It's about a long-term strategy and change rather than quick action. So this Mars is sitting back and watching what's happening and kind of deciding the strategy it wants to take. Hey guys, we should be talking about Mercury retrograde today. Mercury retrograde is actually happening in my third house, and I got thrown off the internet. It has been happening for 2 straight days. So I'm sorry, but this video is going to be edited a little bit more. So anyway, we just went over the Mars dates, and now we're jumping into exploring Mars energies so that we know what we're looking for. So if you are asking like, why are there 2 different Mars energies? It's because clear back for forever, people for forever and ever and ever, people, sages, gurus, whatever, astrologers, they assigned planets to different signs. And back then, we didn't have any of the outer planets. So Mars was given to both Aries and Scorpio, and it takes on different parts of their archetypes. That happens with all planets. Now, in modern astrology, I know Pluto has also been assigned, but it's kind of they kind of work together. Mars is like a missile, and then Pluto is like an atomic bomb reverberating through depths and transforming a huge, huge part of life. So I'm quickly going to go over different Mars energies. So Mars on its own is very action oriented. It drives our need to take action, to push ourselves. It wants things to happen. It also it's assertiveness. It gets us out of bed in the morning. It pushes us. Mars on its own is just, it can just fly into anger and conflict. These are just Mars, and then we're going to jump into Aries Mars and Scorpio Mars. So survival instincts, also very much a Mars quality, passion and desire, courage and directness. Mars just wants to go straight forward. It doesn't care. It's just what mode it's going to take. Is it going to take the strategic mode, or is it going to take the spontaneous mode? So now jumping to Scorpio Mars, or Aries Mars, I'm so sorry. Aries Mars is bold, action oriented and impulsive. Aries Mars is about doing things now. Like, let's go. Let's be active. It thrives on spontaneity. It thrives on competition. It thrives on being like self, really pushes to be self, and then physical activity. The energy with Aries Mars is fiery and direct, and it's quick decisions, bursts of motivation, even can be outbursts of anger. So if you're trying to work with the Aries Mars, you want to channel its drive into physical outlets like exercise or sports or tackling a new project with enthusiasm, like even just like organizing a shelf or something. You just it needs a movement. You need to see that an action is changing something. So Mars would be happy if you saw that closet or shelf organized. It would appease it. So now you can have both of these, and we do all have both of these, and it will just depend. But it's really important to recognize which one you're working with, and it's going to change all the time. Like I've noticed since I've been tracking this since Monday, it's been different, like the different Mars energies, because Mars has all of it in its personality. So the Scorpio Mars is intense, emotional, and deeply focused. It operates like below the surface, and this energy will deal with uncovering truths. Like, never try to lie to someone with Scorpio. They have a bullshit barometer that is like off the charts. They might not tell you they know it's bullshit, but they do. I mean, I have Scorpio, so I'll say to people all the time, well, they were lying. I just didn't tell them I knew. And then, we find out later, yep, they were lying. So it's about processing hidden feelings, and it can be broody, but you're going to be broody in silence. You're not going to say it. Whereas an Aries Mars is going to be like, "Grr, I'm angry, I'm mad." So this kind of Mars is long-term strategy and transformation and change rather than that quick action that the Aries Mars takes. And when you're trying to balance a Scorpio Mars, you're going to want to get some of those deep feelings out, and like you can journal. You could do that quick journaling, even just saying, okay, I understand, I know, I see, this is emotional, this is something I have been suppressing, I haven't wanted to bring up or let myself see. And Scorpio is very much a detective, so use that detective skills to figure it out. It can also be like diving into a creative and very much introspective projects that allow for emotional, you just really want that emotional release and insight. Did I say insight? The key takeaways from this are that Aries Mars acts fast and outward, while Scorpio Mars feels really deep and acts strategically. So recognizing which Mars energy is influencing you at any given time can help you decide what you're going to do with it. Do you need to burn energy off quickly, or do you need to dive inward for clarity? So here are some prompts to reflect on. That if you're saying like, can I understand my birth chart? I really want to understand my birth chart. These are things you would reflect on. So what has been building tension in my life leading up to Mars turning retrograde? Am I acting impulsively, or am I suppressing emotions that need acknowledgement? How do I typically express my Mars energy, and what can I learn from this retrograde? So here's just a fun, fast quiz to help you identify Mars energy and your type. And then we're just going to do a fun, fast quiz of like, well, nah, I'm going to flip-flop that. Let's do just Mars versus Scorpio. So we're going to do a quick quiz. Here's what your answers are going to be. See, they're going to be just plain Mars, or it's going to be Aries Mars, or it's going to be Scorpio Mars. And then we're going to dive into the questions to help you understand yours and which one you feel like you coincide with more so. Now, for me, I do both. So both is always an answer you can have, but it's equal. My chart's pretty equal with elements and how they play. So if you're feeling angsty, okay. If you're feeling angsty and irritable, but it's hard to pinpoint why, which Mars is that? I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. Okay. If you said just Mars, you're right. It's general Mars energy surfacing, and it's urging you to take action and to address internal or, to address internal tension. Okay. Next one. You feel pent up anger and the urge to go punch a wall. Which Mars is that? Music playing. Aries Mars. If you said Aries Mars, correct. You need direct, physical, and impulsive action. Okay, let's see. I have a bunch in front of me, so I'm like, which ones are fun? Thoughts keep creeping up that stir strong emotions and won't let you rest. Which Mars is that? 15 minutes. Scorpio Mars, digging deep, triggering unresolved emotional layers. There you go. You find yourself snapping at someone before you've had time to think. Which Mars is that? Aries. Aries, reactive, immediate releases. So your last one, you're brooding over an unresolved conflict and it's starting to consume your thoughts. Which Mars is that? Scorpio Mars. It's intense focus on hidden or unresolved issues. So as you're going through your day or you're feeling some of this angst, it's really good to figure out which one it is so that you know what action you want to take. Okay, now here's just a fun, quick, interactive to help you identify Mars energy. Maybe your type, but like I said, it can be both. So when you're faced with a challenge, do you A, jump right in and figure it out later, which would be Aries, more a fiery Mars, or B, strategize in silence before taking action? That's the Scorpio. Okay, next question. How do you handle anger? A, I let it simmer until I can't hold it in anymore. Scorpio. Or it's explosive and over quickly. Aries. Okay, last question. Your ideal weekend activity or when you have time off, right? A deep dive into a mystery novel or an emotional movie marathon. That's going to be your Scorpio. Or B, an adrenaline pumping sport. That's going to be Aries. So do you have one more dominant or not? Like you don't really have to. My answers are different on that quiz for different parts of me. So I just wanted to throw in some herbal, energetic potions, or well, they're not really potions, but allies to help you through this time because Mars retrograde can really stir up a lot of that. So these are just easy herbs that you can find probably on Amazon. I'm really picky. I go to certain farms, but they're very easily found. And I have been drinking, like I'm not kidding. Here is my catnip. Yes, I know it's backwards because I've had that angsty emotional part and I started drinking this yesterday. And in this, I'm kidding, is my nettles. So these are two just very common herbs that can really help you. Mm, So we'll start with nettles. That's for the Aries Mars, and it really helps with grounding and it provides you energy without overstimulation. It'll help you feel like not worn out or weary. And it also provides you, because this can be a complex time and your nerves can be rattled, it is like a natural multivitamin that comes straight from the earth. So it's Gaia handing you this medicine saying, "Hey, take me." I've been drinking it every day for, geez, a while, pretty much every day, on and off, and it's really helped my health. I have a lot of health issues. So nettles, and it's best with an overnight infusion. So if you get nettles and you want to try it, look up overnight infusion. It'll give you the directions. Probably Google. I'd imagine Google. Actually, I'll put some in the description below. So now, Scorpio Mars, what's really good for Scorpio Mars and that emotional release is catnip. And I know everyone's like, oh, I thought that was only for cats and it makes cats. It's like, no, okay, it is the same thing, but it has a different reaction in humans versus cats. So in humans, it calms the mind and it allows that emotional release. Catnip is the opposite of chamomile. So when you're working with herbs, there are two different distinct people. And if you want, so they're called nervines, like, and you've all heard of chamomile, right? Like, I just need to relax. I just need to calm my nerves. And chamomile also relaxes your muscles. Here's what chamomile's super good for. It's for that chatty type person that tells you their problems constantly. Like, you're like, these are the people that you're like, oh, okay, you told me this again, or here we go again. I'm just gonna hear about all your problems. They're very forthcoming. Chamomile just helps them relax and not need to talk about it as much. Catnip being its opposite, it's for those moody, suppressing people who hold things in and then flow, like Scorpio. And it helps you not hold it in. It's like much easier just to say what you feel when you feel it, and it doesn't come out like so rigidly. I have a lot of Scorpio, so I know, like, emotionally, I bottle things up, I suppress, and when it comes out, it is not pretty. I've also been using catnip a lot in the past couple of years, and nettles is like a daily thing because it's so chock full of those vitamins, right? But on Monday or Tuesday, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so emotional and angsty. Like, and I always turn to energy and herbs. And I was like, what? And it's like, oh yeah, catnip. Duh. Please tell me my thing did not. I just had a little notification. I'm like, please tell me that I am not getting kicked off again. So try those, and I will put some directions in the link below, in the description below this, of how you do an overnight infusion, because they're both overnight infusions, but catnip's a cold overnight infusion and nettles is a hot overnight infusion. So there you go. There is Mars. That's what's happening right now. Have you been angsty? Have things been coming up with you? What has been building? Going back to the question for reflection, what has been building tension in your life leading up to this retrograde? How is it feeling? What has come up? If you know the house Cancer and Leo are in for you, see if you can see a connection. I would also ask you to look at where Leo and Virgo are for you, because we are experiencing a Mercury retrograde right now that's building off of the last Mercury retrograde that was in Leo and Virgo. So see, we have Leo. Both Leos are in play here, or both Leos. One Leo, both retrogrades have Leo in play. So if you can kind of put that together, like the last Mercury retrograde was July, August, September, and it happened. So what is your mind catching up on now that you can see? And then this Mars retrograde and the dates I said at the beginning, and I'll also put those in the description for you so you can write those down. Um, have you seen any differences? Have you seen the angst? What have you seen replaying? Mine is in my 10th and 11th house, and 5,000% I'm seeing not only the Mercury retrograde coming up, and I'm being informed about things, and then I have Virgo in my 12th, so stuff, and the 12th house a lot is about what you haven't seen, right? So stuff I wasn't seen with people I work with in my career. Hello, it's really coming up. And the dates with the Mars retrograde as well. So track those, look at those. Then ask yourself, like, where has the tension been building? Like I already said. And then am I acting impulsively or am I suppressing emotions that need acknowledgement? And then how do I typically express my Mars energy? How is it going to come out for you? Are you seeing it come out for you? And what can I learn from this retrograde? These are all things, if you're asking yourself, like, how do I understand my birth chart? These are all going to help for you. So have a great day. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye.